In summer, under the blazing sun, few things match the thrill of an incredible water slide. Across the globe, amusement parks cater to water enthusiasts seeking adrenaline rushes. However, occasionally, designers push the boundaries of imagination a bit too much. If the slides at your nearby water park feel too mild, you're in for a treat. Presenting the 10 wildest and banned water slides that will leave you astounded. Number 10. Green Mountain Reservoir Water Slide. The Green Mountain Reservoir is in Colorado and exists because of the Green Mountain Dam that was completed in 1942. Since then, the large body of water has been a favorite place for boating and fishing, as well as the so-called water slide, but this is no ordinary water slide and wasn't even built with human travel in mind. It's actually an inlet that helps control the flow of water. As you can see, the water flow is insane and sure to give rider an experience like nowhere else. Those feeling brave can start much higher up and go through a tunnel structure too. Of course, local authorities would rather people don't use this as a slide and have been taking steps in recent years to try and prevent people from accessing the area. Number 9. Action Park's Cannonball Loop. This is possibly the most notorious crazy water slide that was built at the Action Park Waterpark in New Jersey. The park itself was a popular place in the 80s and 90s, but a combination of poor management and dangerous rides meant it was the site of an unbelievable number of serious injuries and deaths before its closure. In 1996, at least 6 people are known to have died in the park, and the design of the Cannonball Loop slide makes it clear why this ride was the first visitors would see as they entered the park, but it was rarely even open. In fact, people were only allowed to use it during 1 month in the summer of 1985, before a mounting list of injuries resulted in the authorities closing it down. In fact, even employees were scared of it, so much so that they were offered $100 to test it. After being weighed and sprayed with water at the top, riders go through a complete loop before coming out the bottom, presumably dazed and confused. There was a hatch in the loop that was used to rescue people who weren't able to generate enough momentum to make it around, and the dirt and sediment that built up inside was enough to make most riders come out with scratches and abrasions. It's a surprise no one died in the Cannonball Loop, but Action Park had plenty other plans that would ensure not everyone would leave alive. Number 8. Hawaii's Flume. This first water slide is a hidden secret on the island of Hawaii. It's such a secret that the most dangerous part of it is the trek to get there in the first place. It's located on the north side of the island, along the White Road hike. Now, before you set off, it's important to know that this is a restricted area through a forest preserve that's been closed since the 2007 earthquake. There's no cell service here, and anyone experiencing difficulties will be a long way from getting assistance. For instance, that Tumalan route may become a death trap in the event of heavy rain. Those that do take the risk through numerous locked gates and trespass warning signs, though, are able to reach the water flume on the Ka Ditch. It's a stunning slide surrounded by the jungle and drops 35 feet into a shallow pool. Users have to pull themselves up by ropes before experiencing the slide, but its remote location and makeshift construction means that authorities have gone on the record that they're surprised that as of yet, there have been no serious accidents. Despite this, there's a regular flow of visitors to the Flume, as it's as close to nature as a slide could ever get and is a welcome relief after such a long trek. Number 7. Wild Rapids Water Slide Park. The Wild Rapids Water Slide Park in Sylvan Lake, north of Calgary, was a popular site for locals for 34 years until its closure in 2016. As with all water parks, they built some insane creations, including ones called Kamikaze, Harikari, and Sidewinder. Since its closure, though, the slides have fallen into disrepair, and it's left to urban explorers to reveal how dangerous they would be if you were to try them today. Number 6. Crazy Tubing Down a Spillway. The Silver Lake Reservoirs in California have a unique design that makes it the ideal place for thrill seekers to use their rubber tubes. It's not exactly how authorities want it to be used, though, so there's a risk of arrest for anyone that tries this one out. The two reservoirs, Ivanhoe and Silver Lake, are connected by giant Spillway, which makes a perfect slide for Bros on their tubes. It's a fairly long drop to the lower pool, so much so that you can hardly see it from the top. Unsurprisingly, spillway tubing is popular around the world, with the idea reaching as far as Australia, where a group took things to a much more dangerous level as they took a treacherous route to reach a spillway before jumping in the water to make the slide. Number 5. Dove Stones, the big one. Dove Stones Reservoir was built near Manchester in the United Kingdom in 1968. The construction of water management features in the area began more than 100 years earlier, though, and some of the Victorian architecture has made for some unique water sliding opportunities. First is this little one. It's only a short slide, but it's bumpy enough to make your eyes judder. It's also the perfect warm-up to what's about to come next, once you've got used to the freezing temperature of the water. You're ready to move on to the big one, and boy is it big. It's a simply insane ride to make, and since it's not designed for safety, there are numerous risks to overcome. The rocks at the base are just waiting for someone to land on, and you better hope you lose momentum quick. Otherwise, you'll slide straight into one of the drains that moves water away from the area. You'll also have to just pray there isn't a sharp rock on the way down, for it would seriously hurt. Number 4. Fort Rapids Waterpark. Fort Rapids is an indoor water park in Columbus, Ohio, and one that, despite being closed in 2015, still manages to make the headlines because of the dangers within on the surface. It looks like any other water park with a number of tube slides, pools, and entertainment facilities. Although a number of the rides look sketchy to say the least, the real danger with this park was its attitude towards safety, and it was cited for health code violations 75 times in the year before its closure. These issues range from cockroach spray being found in the food areas to failures to maintain the required levels of water quality. Ironically, the park was actually closed because of a fire that broke out and stayed shut ever since. There's been talk of it reopening, but in early 2018, fire crews were caught out to the site after a water pipe burst in the hotel complex, and the water turned to ice as it cascaded out of the 12th floor. Number 3. Calypso Waterpark. The Calypso Waterpark in Ottawa covers 100 acres and was opened in 2010. It's one of the most popular parks in Canada, but its attempts at pushing the boundaries have resulted in quite a few injuries to visitors. It has 17 main attractions, but there's one you can't go on anymore, known as the steamer. It's a tube ride like you'll see at many parks. Where the rider slides around a donut-shaped slide was that the momentum involved had a habit of causing neck injuries, with injuries ranging from soreness to broken vertebrae. The ride was finally closed after authorities discovered that the park management was covering up how many injuries were happening, and in 2015, it was announced that the park had to pay $500,000 in fines and compensation as a result of the numerous safety violations that had taken place. Number 2. Illegal Dam Spillway Water Slide. The craziest example of a dam spillway used as a water slide has to come from Australia at the Clary Hall Dam. Videos emerged in 2016 of people using the spillway as a slide, and it concerned authorities so much that they considered closing the entire dam as a result, stating that there was a significant risk of death by drowning or collision. The local council warned of the 25-foot-high walls on either side of the spillway and width of only 40 feet in some places. Still, the 360-foot-long chute has proved to be too good a slide to miss, and despite the warnings, people still find a way to experience it for themselves. Number 1. Verruct. The Verruct water slide at Slicker Bond Water Park in Kansas City was opened in 2014 and was at the time the world's tallest water slide in a park. It was 168 feet high, and with a vertical angle of 60 degrees would see riders reach speeds of up to 70 miles per hour. It apparently simulated the feeling of weightlessness on the first part of the slide, but achieving such speeds on a rubber mat came with a risk. The original opening of the ride was delayed because the mats had a habit of falling off it. Things were altered slightly to ensure people wouldn't be sent flying into the surrounding park, but the risks weren't completely solved. In 2016, the 10-year-old son of a local state representative died while sliding down for roof. His raft went airborne, and he was decapitated by a support beam. The other two passengers in the R suffered from a broken jaw and a broken face bone, and as a result, the ride was closed forever. The owners of the park, along with the ride designer, have since been charged with second-degree murder, meaning it's highly unlikely that any future water slide designs will be anywhere near as crazy as this one. Which water slide would you most like to try out? Or are there any in your local area that you think we should have included? Let me know in the comments section down below. Thanks.